Have you been in a relationship where someone didn't choose you and they chose someone else? Or have you been in several relationships where that has happened? This is so common that I see in many of my clients' lives. And I have been able to trace it back to childhood wounds. Now, sometimes it's not the childhood, it's actually in adulthood. Maybe they've had a past long term relationship or a marriage where they really didn't feel fulfilled 100% and they allowed themselves to be treated less than what they deserved and ultimately wasn't really being chosen and ended up that person that they were with chose somebody else. If you don't know me, my name's Deborah. I'm a transformational healer and intuitive coach. And this is close to my heart as well. And the reason why I want to talk about this today is because when I work with clients, I usually see a core issue. The core issue is feeling not worthy, not lovable, not good enough, and not chosen. And this comes from usually childhood. And I have to say, in my case, it was definitely childhood, where I felt like I made up limiting beliefs about myself because my emotional needs were not met. I didn't feel like I was good enough. I didn't feel worthy of love. I had difficulty. Again, I don't want to say that my parents were terrible. They did the best they could, but I was definitely wanting more emotionally, and they just weren't able to give it to me. So as an adult, I grew up and I chose men who didn't choose me back. That was an ongoing mantra that I had in my subconscious mind, and it was playing out in my life. So what I do in my work is I help you to release, rewrite, receive. So if you come to me with having issues and troubles in relationships where you feel that you've been abandoned, you haven't been chosen, and yet you're waiting desperately to find someone, a partner who will choose you, that is a very painful and very not such a great place to be because you're suffering so much and you're actually holding your happiness hostage. You're putting your life on hold, waiting and wondering and wishing that someone would choose you to make you feel whole and complete. And if this is you, please don't beat yourself up because so many people do this. And on top of feeling that they don't feel loved in this world by a partner, they beat themselves up on top of it because they think I shouldn't feel this way. I wish I was different. And that just adds more stress to your life. So you're not broken if you feel this way. This is just an unhealed wound. And one of the main unhealed wounds is just that self love that you feel will be complete and whole if you had somebody to validate you. I was there too. But I was also on a spiritual path for many years, and I had beautiful divine experiences, but I still felt that sense of lack. I felt that lack of self love, of choosing myself. And so by not choosing myself and not putting myself as priority, I would choose partners who were not emotionally available and who would not choose me because they didn't have it in them to do it for themselves, let alone for me. And so when I would choose somebody like this, it would be comfortable. It would feel like home. It was what I knew. When the clients come to me, they are ready for change. They've tried different things and they're ready to change. They're ready to start feeling different about themselves. And so the way I work with my clients is I release, rewrite, receive. That's my tagline. Releasing is the first step. How do you release? You start to investigate with your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, your conscious and your subconscious mind of the limiting beliefs that you are telling yourself. And if you notice, these limiting beliefs of not feeling chosen, lovable, worthy are looping. They loop. And especially if you have broken up or someone has abandoned you, maybe replaced you with someone else, that can be extreme suffering and painful, being very painful. And that can cause a lot of the looping mind of trying to figure out, going over conversations, wishing it were different, shoulda, coulda, wouldas. If I would have said this, maybe he or she would have stayed. All of that is the repetitive looping mind. That's what you're releasing. You're releasing these limiting beliefs that have been triggered from someone who has abandoned you and not chosen you. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because I always say to my clients, which came first, the chicken or the egg? It's usually you walked into that relationship with those limiting beliefs from the childhood or adulthood wounds, and you played it out. That's a bitter pill to swallow, but if you can really put that spotlight on yourself, it gets easier, and you don't have to beat yourself up when you see, oh wow, I've been holding on to these limiting beliefs all my life. And you can absolutely release them and change them. I didn't make this up. I didn't invent the wheel for releasing. Lester Levinson started the Sedona method, and he was my teacher, or yeah, he was my teacher's teacher. He was able to release for 3 months after being very deathly sick, and the doctors telling him to go home and die. There was nothing else they could do. And he released all of his limiting beliefs, all of his unhealed wounds, and in 3 months became healthy and well and lived a long life. So this releasing works. And the way I do release work is through energy healing and releasing through the energy work with my clients. The next step is writing a new script, rewriting a script. And this is the fun part, is where you start to write what it is that you want, because those looping thoughts of feeling not being chosen, worthy, lovable are thoughts that you're thinking of what you don't want. And the more you think those thoughts, the more it appears out there. So when you start to think of what you want, that changes your vibration, changes your frequency, and changes the outcome in the 3D of your life. So that's the fun part of writing the script. What kind of relationship do you want? Sometimes we've lost ourselves in trying to control and get approval and security with someone that never really chose us in the first place. We've exhausted ourselves and we've lost ourselves, and we don't even know what we want. It takes a little while to get ourselves back. The third step is, after you write the script, is receiving. And I have to say, for women who are mothers, that's very difficult for them, because they're so used to giving, giving, giving in raising children and serving the family, that that part is actually more difficult. Really letting yourself receive what you've released, what you've rewritten, and you start to embody this new version of you, creating a new timeline. And it is just so exciting. But in the process of doing release, rewrite, receive, you take your attention and you put it on the divine. Because when you start to really truly release, which is what you're releasing, is the limited body mind, the limiting thoughts that you think are so real. Because the more you release and focus on the beingness that you truly are, which is awareness, consciousness, God consciousness, and you nurture that relationship, that's when you are choosing yourself and you are loving yourself. And when you develop that relationship, you will never, ever entertain those thoughts of limitation anymore. It's impossible. You will laugh. Because when you know who you are and when you experience who you are, that's a game changer. It's so simple, we don't even see it. Most of us, in fact, my opinion is most humans are pretty much self-centered until they're anchored in the divine. I'm not saying this to be preachy. I am not religious. I don't even want to claim I'm spiritual. I'm into the truth. I'm a truth seeker. I've always had a relationship with the divine, but more so now these days, really taking my attention and putting it on the divine and having a romance with the divine. Because the divine is the universe within you. And when you can release these limitations, you will see that the abundance that you are seeking of love, of health, and wealth is already within you. You don't have to attain it. You don't have to work hard at it. It's already there. You're just releasing what's in the way, the clouds, the thoughts that you are believing. So when you release, you start to see, oh, I've been believing these thoughts. Now I can let them go. I don't need to believe them. And the more that you stop believing them and they come up, they finally collapse. Sometimes they'll keep repeating, but not as strongly until you just say enough. I'm done. I'm not interested. And then they'll collapse. This is really powerful, but the key is to just turn your attention to the divine. You will see your life change drastically. Whatever you want will come to you instantly. And this sounds woo-woo and magical, but it's not. It's your true nature. All these limitations are not your true nature at all. This is by far, for me, in my experience, the fastest way that I can heal. One is turning my attention to the divine and developing and really nurturing that relationship, being grateful for everything that happens. I feel like the universe is my bank. The universe is the love that I'm seeking, that I already have, and it's the health. And the more aligned I am to that, the more fulfilled I feel, the more happy I feel, the more loving I am, the more love comes to me tenfold. When you turn to the divine, it turns to you 10 times more. And the abundance just comes. And it's just amazing. And it's overwhelmingly wonderful. And I'm saying abundance in every way. But most of us ignore it. And like I said, humans are generally self-centered until they know who they are. And so that's why we have so many problems in relationships where people, there's a playbook, and I've done a video on the playbook of people who are avoidance and narcissists. Again, I don't like to put them in a box, but those people have those kind of tendencies. Those are extreme. Those kind of people are disconnected from their heart. They don't know how they're impacting themselves and others because they don't know who they really are. They're not in touch with that. But everybody is here to grow and learn at their own pace. I'm saying if you really want to release and be free from wanting to be chosen, if you can be free from that, your life will be drastically different. I've seen so many people go through this. Their happiness is on hold, waiting for someone to validate them. And it comes from those deep wounds that maybe even as an infant we didn't feel loved, we didn't feel a part of, we felt separate. And that's what we all do as humans, is we practice separation. So when you turn to the divine, you stop practicing separation and you feel connected again. And you don't need somebody else's validation to choose. You choose you. You don't need their approval anymore. You don't need them to choose you. And when you choose you, they'll choose you. But if you're not choosing you, they're not going to choose you either. It's a hard lesson to learn, but something else I want to leave you with is the more that you choose you and you choose the divine and you love yourself, which is loving the divine, being in gratitude, being receiving, let yourself receive. Most people have a hard time with that. When you're in that vibration, you will naturally start to upgrade your life. You will no longer even want to be with someone who doesn't treat you the way you deserve to be treated, because they can't treat themselves with the utmost respect because they don't know who they are. So then you stop expecting that because they have something to learn. They need to grow. And you are able to start to change your frequency, change your life, and everything else on the outside will change. The people in your life, the quality of your life will upgrade, and you will see it in every way. You will upgrade your clothes, your house, your furnishings, your everything, because you will have the abundance and you will have that consciousness. If this really resonates with you and you would like more support, you are welcome to book a private session with me. You can also, if you're new and you would like to get to know my teachings, you are welcome to join my community and receive support, make some friends, and just get to know the process of release, rewrite, receive. Thank you so much. I hope you like and subscribe and have a wonderful day.